Today is Tuesday, September 7th, 2009. This is Fred Gesser bringing you the Planalytics 2-week insight for agriculture. After last week's cold start, temperatures rebounded into the upper 70s and low 80s for the Midwest growing areas over the weekend. The Deep South continued with highs in the middle 80s to low 90s most of the week. Speaking of 90s, southern portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan as well as North Dakota, had temperatures on Monday that were in the 80s to low 90s. Those Canadian grains are finally getting some warmth in September. Out west, the California valleys had highs pushing into 100 degrees to start last week, but cooler readings down into the mid-80s occurred over the weekend. Moisture-wise, the early harvest areas of the Deep South saw rainfall amounts between a quarter inch and nearly 2 inches. Much of the Delta soybean areas reported near an inch. The western Midwest had a dry week until 1 to 2 inch rain showed up in North Dakota over the past 24 hours. Light rain fell across the Ohio Valley and Illinois over the extended weekend. Amounts were generally between a few hundredths and just under an inch. One more recap item. Last night, the National Hurricane Center upgraded Tropical Depression number 7 to Tropical Storm Fred. Fred is currently 345 miles southwest of the Cape Verde Islands. He is expected to become a hurricane by this evening, although Fred will stay far out to sea. And the only reason I mention this storm is because of the really cool name it has. Now for our weekly outlooks. For the week of the 8th of September through the 13th of September, slow developing low pressure systems will dominate the week's weather pattern. First, a non-tropical coastal low pressure will bring gale force winds and heavy rain to the coastal mid-Atlantic states and New England today through Friday before clearing occurs over the weekend. For agriculture, the only reason I mentioned the first low pressure is because it causes a second low pressure to evolve slowly over the plains in western Mississippi Valley this week. This low pressure will bring 1 to 3 inches of rain to the hard red wheat belt and western corn belt by the end of the week. And I'm not done. A third low pressure system develops in the western Gulf of Mexico that will bring 1 to 3 or more inches of rain to the drought-stricken areas of South Texas. All the low pressures east of the Rockies means a return of high pressure to the Great Basin and hot upper 90s to 100-degree readings by Thursday for the California valleys. For the week of the 14th through the 20th of September, we expect the moisture from the Gulf low pressure system to hook up with the slow-moving low pressure in the Midwest and produce a large area of above normal precipitation from the eastern plains and delta all the way up into the Great Lakes region. This event will probably start on Sunday and spread northward for the early parts of the week. Look for a dry trend to spread from west to east late in the week. Temperatures east of the Rockies will be normal to below normal for the week. Meanwhile, hot conditions will continue for the western third of the U.S. And I still do not see a freeze for the Midwest growing areas hinted in the models for this week. That's all I have for this week's report. My wife and I are headed west tomorrow, taking a drive to Omaha through the heart of the Corn Belt. This is meteorologist Fred Gesser. Have a safe couple of weeks while I'm gone.